Welcome home, residents. It's your Mayor Alistair back once again with something huge. A new Godzilla film has released, and it is beyond epic. We have Godzilla, Ghidorah, and Jet Jaguar going at it in an awesome clash of tokusatsu mayhem. Though, Toho doesn't actually want you to see this. They really want you to pay $40 for them, despite it being a community crowd-funded project. Yep, Toho's true colors love to peek out every now and again. But that's a story for another video. Right now we have something super cool to get through, as long as Toho doesn't claim it. Directed once again by Kazuhiro Nakagawa as the culmination of years of anniversary celebrations. Godzilla Fest 5 ALL Monsters Showdown is the follow-up to Operation Jet Jaguar, Gigan Attacks, Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, and Godzilla Appears at Godzilla Fest. And its budget is bigger than ever, and you can really tell. This is the biggest, most badass short yet. There's tons of cool Easter eggs, including some even from the Monsterverse. So let's not waste any more time, let's break it down. The film starts off with a summary of the previous film showing Godzilla's fight with Jet Jaguar, before a bigger threat, Ghidorah, shows up and they decide to work together. We see Jag and Godzilla squaring up to Ghidorah before the title card shows up. We then cut to members of the government and scientists, which I've had to use a rough translation for since they speak entirely in Japanese. It seems that they're talking about Ghidorah's arrival from space and how it's completely different both behaviorally and physically to Gigan, and they then contemplate why Godzilla would work with Jet Jaguar in order to take it down, noting the change in behavior. And also a little Easter egg is the Godzilla vs. Ghidorah track playing, which is a super cool callback. We then see Godzilla and Jag squaring off against the three-headed devil before he charges up his atomic breath and blasts it at his opponent, with this shot actually being stock footage from the previous short film. Ghidorah braces and blocks Godzilla's oncoming atomic breath, breaking it off into 4 smaller beams, blowing up the surrounding city block. And this shot of Ghidorah's silhouette in front of the fire is just so cool. Ghidorah then fights back with his own gravity beams, which Godzilla meets, initiating a beam clash, which we don't get to see enough. This is so cool. Ghidorah comes on top though, pushing Godzilla over, temporarily knocking him out. Jaguar tries to dodge, but is unsuccessful, taking gravity beams to the chest. The officials start panicking, coming to the realization they are no match for Ghidorah, but Yuki Ito's character isn't giving up hope and initiates an upgrade for Jaguar. That's right, Gigan's Claws, which they've turned into a new set of weapons for Jaguar, which is just amazing. This is what we love to see. It's so delightfully silly. Godzilla gets back up and readies himself, and the two of them give a little nod of acknowledgement to each other, which I just love. It's the little things that really helps bring these characters to life, before they both run headfirst into battle, with Jag blocking one of the gravity beams as Godzilla clashes with the other. Ghidorah's defenses are being weakened, before Jaguar lunges at the 3 heads and starts slicing. And if you notice, in the background is that epic track from Final Wars, which is just so cool to hear again. Then Ghidorah manages to bite down on the claw, breaking down the cosmic steel. But Jag breaks free and does a backflip with exaggerated swagger, then slides into a flanking position, giving Godzilla the chance to blast Ghidorah from behind. With Ghidorah falling to the floor, the two await any sudden movements. But Ghidorah quickly recovers and blasts Jet Jaguar, knocking him through a building. Now it's just Godzilla and Ghidorah, and they both start fighting in brutal hand-to-hand combat. 1 head versus 3. Godzilla punches and swipes, but is outmatched by the devil with 3 heads, who pushes him over. In Godzilla's moments of weakness, Ghidorah uses the opportunity to blast his gravity beams, this time in a red, white, and blue color scheme, which is actually a reference to this poster from Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, which in of itself is a reference to the original unused color scheme of Ghidorah, which is just a crazy callback. Then the devil with 3 heads begins lifting Godzilla up. The king of the monsters, engulfed in pain, is incapable of stopping him. Godzilla struggles before something interrupts Ghidorah, stopping the beams in its tracks, sending Godzilla falling to the ground.
Woo! Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
Jet is alive and has thrown one of Gigan's claws directly into Ghidorah's chest, and the two ready themselves for another round of combat. And in this epic scene, Godzilla charges up Jet Jaguar's G-claws with his atomic breath, as a callback to Godzilla vs. Kong, where Godzilla charges up Kong's axe, which makes sense. It is a celebration of Godzilla's 70-year history. And with this, Jet slices Ghidorah's head clean off, before grabbing the remaining heads, pointing them away from Godzilla and the city. But then Jet looks back at Godzilla as if to say, "Do it, now." Godzilla takes a second to think before charging his atomic breath up to new heights before blasting it at Jaguar and Ghidorah, striking at the heart of the enemy Titan. He collapses and blows up into a massive fireball. Ghidorah is defeated. But instead of cheer and celebration, the officials stay silent, thinking about their fallen allies and the civilians that have lost their lives to the carnage. Godzilla approaches Jet Jaguar, maybe to finish the job, but instead he bows his head in respect. One king to another, Jet Jaguar gives one last thumbs up before shutting down. Wait, why am I crying? Godzilla lets out a final victory cry, the last kaiju standing. As the sun rises, Godzilla returns to the bay and swims back into the ocean. From destroyer to protector, he is the king of the monsters. This short has honestly been amazing and surprisingly emotional. They managed to use their limited budget to make something truly remarkable, giving the monsters so much emotion despite neither of them being able to really move their faces. I have to give a shout out to Naona Matsumoto, who played Godzilla, and Kenya Saito, who played Jet Jaguar. They both put so much nuance into their performances, with so many tiny details that really put you in the mind and soul of the kaiju. And by the end, I was genuinely tearing up because of Jet Jaguar's death. It was so well done. The special effects are just as good as the previous short films, and the suits hold up pretty well, despite some of them clearly needing to be retired. That poor Final Wars suit, let it rest. Though I'm happy I got to see it one last time, because this suit is just super nostalgic for me. And the ending is nicely satisfying, though it begs the question, is this the last one? It sure feels like it. I hope it's not, but where do you go from here? Perhaps Gemstone will have their own annual short film releases, but we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, I really hope this isn't the last we see of Tokusatsu Godzilla. If I was to rate each of the short films, I'd probably give Godzilla Appears at Godzilla Fest a 7. It was good, but it obviously didn't have the budget as the later ones. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah a 7.5. It brought back the Final War suit and Ghidorah suit, and the city destruction was all really well done, but Godzilla's face didn't move at all. They clearly hadn't even done any repairs to it at that point. But then Gigan Attacks came out, and that was just so good. It was like a night and day difference in terms of like the special effects, the cinematography, and the fact it brought in actors as well, so that gets a 9. And Operation Jet Jaguar, that also gets a 9. And ALL Monsters Showdown, I'd probably give an 8.5. It was still really good, but obviously they were using stock footage, and there wasn't as much like establishing shots in it, so it felt smaller scale than Gigan Attacks or Operation Jet Jaguar. But they're all really good, and I really appreciate each one of them. But what would you rate this film? Let us know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday for our 70th anniversary celebration. It might just make you cry. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.